The third part of the triangle is the emotional side of the triangle, or the subconscious side of the triangle. And this is what most people don't understand, and where they let themselves down. You see, West, everybody has beliefs and I suppose an outlook about money. They have belief systems built around money, what money is, how hard it is to get. They've been conditioned how
over time.
Yeah, how easy it is to get, how hard it is to get. Everybody has a whole.
And they also have a picture of themselves as how much they're worth, and molds that they place themselves in, as amongst their friends and.
That's right, yeah. So there's well, let's talk about that a little bit more. So everybody has a belief system of what money is and how hard it is, but generally a lot of these beliefs are not conscious. They're not conscious beliefs. They're just generally feelings about money. Okay, and this is a lot of the times you can identify when I'm talking to people. I can ask them questions around money or around their success.
You get a feeling of that.
Well, they express their beliefs in feelings, okay, or how they react. So what I mean by this is that you have to be comfortable at a conscious and subconscious level with being financially successful in your definition of financially successful. Now, what I mean by that, guys, is if you are trying to make passive income and you're trying to be financially independent, and at some level, at a subconscious level, you are not comfortable with that, then you will self-sabotage yourself. Now, it might sound a little bit strange and a little bit silly, but this is something that I've seen over and over again, and it was something that I saw demonstrated in my own life from times that when my wife and myself were actually trying to make passive income and get ahead.
Because you guys could make money, but it wasn't passive, correct?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. We were running a consulting business, and we were management consultants for 15 years. We had a very successful company. We didn't even have to. We weren't really advertising for business. We were actually getting more business than we could handle, and we actually had to turn stuff away a lot of the times. And we were working 7 days a week, very hard. And all of a sudden, we just realised that, look, this isn't the life that we wanted. And sometimes things happen and you get this turning point. Our turning point was when we had our first child came along, and we realised we wanted to spend more time with our child. And it dawned on us, if we stop working, we got to actually stop earning money, and that wasn't good enough. So we had to get the passive income happening. So we set ourselves a goal. We were big goal setters, and we set ourselves a goal. And we said, okay, in 5 years we're going to make $10,000 passive income a month, and that $10,000 passive income a month will pay all our bills and keep us in the lifestyle. And if we got $10,000 passive income coming in a month, that meaning we didn't have to work for it, we would be set in our mind. We could retire at that point in time. So we're thinking, wow, that's a great goal. We'll give ourselves 5 years. We're pretty good. We'll work at it. So we went for 4.5 years. We worked and we tried a whole lot of different systems. We tried the mental side of the triangle. We looked at property, we looked at shares, we looked at all sorts of trading, we looked at different businesses, and we were 4.5 years into it, and we've been working really hard. So we've been putting the physical commitment in. We spent money, time, effort, went and learned all the systems as well. So the mental side. Guess how much money how much passive income we had coming in on a monthly basis after 4.5 years?
Not much.
No, zero. We actually had zero. And being pretty goal-orientated people, my wife and myself, we actually were pretty frustrated with this. But it occurred to us that we hadn't been practicing what we preached over these years, and we said, okay, there must be something wrong here. And
what's the missing ingredient?
Well, the missing ingredient, and this is what I always advise people to do, is when there's ever a problem and it's a recurring problem, look inside as opposed to outside for the problem. And so we basically said to ourselves, okay, there must be something that we're doing at a subconscious level that's self-sabotaging what we're doing. Because we could see other people making these systems work, and we just couldn't work out why we couldn't make them work. So we had to look at it ourselves. And so what we did is we sat down, we learned a number of techniques, which we're going to show you in our training program here, that these techniques really helped us to identify and eliminate the subconscious blocks that we had to making money. And once we could identify and eliminate the subconscious blocks to making money, and we did that, and this exercises that we did literally took like 20 minutes, half an hour, you know, and that just started us on its way. Within weeks, I'm talking literally within weeks of doing these exercises and identifying the subconscious blocks that were stopping us from making, for us making money, or passive income, I should say, because we could make money, we needed to make passive income. Then within weeks of that, we started making passive income, and within months it was ramped up to coming in. It was around about $20,000 a month.
Wow!
And if you remember, our goal was $10,000 a month. It was we were just
much less time
excited. We were able, yeah. And remember, we set that 5-year goal. Well, to the day, we retired on the day from our work, and were able to go off and do other stuff. So that was pretty cool.
That's powerful.
Okay.
And I love that analogy as well that you've talked to me about recently, about the iceberg and how your subconscious thoughts represent what's happening underneath the water, but only a very, very small amount of it is on top of the water. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, a good friend of mine called Paul Blackburn, who actually helped us with our identifying our subconscious blocks. So Paul basically said to me one time, your subconscious mind is like an iceberg, your mind's like an iceberg. He said the conscious part is the bit that you see above the water, which is about 10% of the actual iceberg. The subconscious is about 90% of the stuff. So the conscious part of the brain might want to go in one direction, but if 90% of the iceberg is wanting to go another direction,
no chance.
It's got no chance, you know. And particularly if it's in a current which is going
Absolutely.
in the other direction. So you kind of got to understand that the subconscious part of the triangle is just critical. So you must have a belief system which supports your financial goals. So if your financial goal is to become financially independent, meaning that you don't have to work if you don't want to work, then you must have a belief system that supports that. So what I'm going to do in the next little video is take you through some of our subconscious blocks that we had, our real blocks, and show you what we changed them to.